Creativity is important, whether or not anyone looks at it. Whether it sells or doesn't sell is not important to judging the quality of a creative work. Whether you publish it or don't publish it has no bearing on the meaning of a creative work. And so just the framing of creator economy, it's just such a dead end. It just says the point of this is maximizing followers so you can maximize income so you can blah, 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 blah. And that's just a treadmill to unhappiness. Collaboration fills us with love and spirit because it's truthful in a way that grinding away to win like fills us with dread and emptiness because it is that. And I really see the past decade as it's just about these technological conditions that we've lived in as just this very first phase of the internet. It's just this period of time that we're going to look back on and be like, oh my God, can you remember when we all did this? And it's going to feel, I think what's interesting to think about there is that the moments of change that we go through as a society, and this is sort of answer your like point of like, do we have to just like choose and define our values? It's not always a switch that's just flipped. We have to basically kind of consistently and kind of unrelentingly work towards these things. And even when we think we might be in a position that, you know, Web3 has ossified or solidified into some kind of sort of idea of the future that we align with, we have to just make sure that we're still pushing those things forward, because it is always this gradient that we're in, and we could easily just be like John Perry Barlow and just accidentally end up in the wrong domain without sort of like careful deliberation.
We have to explore. I think that any innovation starts with the directional thinking, and then we will figure things out as we move forward. I definitely see with Web3 a reunion. One thing that Web3 does very well on the technical side, everyone is like kind of divided and like, oh, this layer one or that technology and whatever. But on the purpose, I think it has been an instrument that has reunited a lot of minds from like all horizons, finance, technology, creativity, content, and so on. I would encapsulate actually creativity into maybe an even bigger container. So first, I completely agree about engineers. I think that maybe the container for creativity is choice as like the biggest, way to look at it, from like the way we choose to act. Yeah, the expression of like our being, and not necessarily like where we come from, but like what we decide to do, what we curate, what we execute. And
why we're trying to have these conversations is to really think in a more meta-modern way. So even beyond the Enlightenment, after the Enlightenment came the post-structuralist, the post-modernist, etc. And all of that phase, I think, is happening now. But what that phase had was the printing press. And that kind of accelerated all of those thoughts. But the process that we have now is that capital is being connected and engineering is being connected to this sharing of thoughts. And I think that's just going to absolutely fly to like actually put coding your values on the blockchain and in these different technologies. And this is so personally motivating and fascinating to me and to everything that we've been trying to co-create with this concept of a new economy. And new is in every part of our ecosystem, something that you're going to find, because that is really what's important, is this idea of innovation and how do we find through all these different players in the ecosystem.
Right, we all have to put our stuff on chain. We all share the chain, right? It's a common in a way. We just need to make decisions. And I think the trajectory of Web3, I guess this will be my question. In the trajectory of Web3, like, is it really about anything more than stating what we believe?
I don't know if you're familiar with like the Plan B movement. It's the idea that like Plan A is capitalism, profit, financial maximization. Plan B is search for other forms of meaning. And it's sort of like people saying we want to create a different path. There's a lot of great philosophers that explore this. I was just talking to someone last night about this. I think Web3 is like 70% Plan A of like, let me get rich and beat the game. And then there's a smaller subset of, I say this affectionately, nerds, which is all of us, who are in it because we're optimistic about the future and because we have those Plan B values and because we see this as a tool for that. I do think we're in the minority. The thing that resonates to me about that in Web3 and Web3 social generally. This is like the thing that I think we've circled around here is what is the difference between audience and community, and how do you actually build community? Even community is a buzzword now, which is like, I feel like there needs to be like a better way to, unfortunately, like as again, like things scale, as movements grow, you need like better and better ways to like differentiate these things. But I think something like a focus on community is probably the most effective thing here.
I realized that philosophically and I guess technologically, there's just a lot that science can get from blockchain technology. I feel like, yeah, well, what you were just saying about 70% of Web3 and crypto being plan A, just like how do we make money? How do we create new systems that'll give different people power, hopefully us, and make us rich, and I guess also improve the legacy systems. I think there's just so much opportunity to explore in other fields that have not yet been touched by it.
About our current financial system is